Today we're going to talk about emotional health in 2023. This is a lot different than how we used to look at health. A quick example of that is, when was the last time you used your MP3 player? Or have you ever used an MP3? Do you know what that is? And that is to say, that is how quick time passes. So we cannot use models that do not exist and apply to the people that are here today. We're living in a technological age which moves very fast and therefore has its own unique challenges. The one that we see most is that of emotional health. Now, we would say that we also have mental health challenges. Mental health challenge is actually just a symptom of emotional health challenges, right? And then physical health shows that there's mental health problem, therefore we're kind of following the dominoes as they fall. So we want to start at the very beginning. So if you're here with me now listening, emotions are important to you. You want to figure some stuff out. So if you're feeling anxious, upset, frustrated, a little bit angry about not being able to do the things you want to do, you have a feeling inside you, you really want to do it, but you don't know how to do it or where to start, this is absolutely normal. Our emotions are created to adapt to our environment. What does that say about our environment? Our environment is not emotionally health friendly, period. Don't believe me? You can do your research on Erich Fromm, who is a 20th century psychologist who talks all about it. The reality is, if you are not able to cope with blocking all your emotions, you will feel them. And in this day and age, if you feel them, you will feel overwhelmed because they're not being supported, right? Different ages of times had to do with different challenges. We don't have to do with world wars. We don't have to do with Great Depressions. We don't have to do with plagues, but we do have to deal with, let's call it, emotional emptiness in the world. We do have to start filling that cup. That is our journey, because we're living now. And so to take it on properly, we have to get a real perspective on what it is. And the first step is to understand that if you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed in this time period, this is how you should be feeling. This is okay. This is appropriate. Now, that being said, we're just starting to understand our emotional capacity and what we can do with it. So we are really taking baby steps. And I think I should probably give you guys a round of applause for having to start off with such a big challenge. Emotions are a very big mountain to climb, but we can climb it. That's the important part. But it is exactly that challenging. So you are feeling overwhelmed. Why? Because it's easy? No, because it is hard and challenging. So to take this on, our first step is to develop some kind of model that is more appropriate to how the emotional atmosphere is in 2023. There is a lot of things challenging your emotions, hijacking your emotions is probably a better way to put it, with all our media style stuff that are geared to the psychology of the person, which means that they're manipulating the psychology, your psychology, to prefer this ad or this thing or that thing, which is fine if you grew up in an era where this thing didn't exist. But if you grow up in a time period where you've only known psychological manipulation in advertisement style stuff, then you're going to have a very hard time figuring out what directions your emotions are going. Where are your thoughts coming from? Are they your thoughts? How did you get to understand how to think about things? Are there novel experiences that you created by yourself with guidance from somebody else showing you the rights and wrongs of emotional ins and outs? Nope. Do your parents have that same experience to help you navigate this thing? Nope, they didn't get that. They grew up in a time period where things were a lot more stable. They were the same for a longer period of time, so it was easier to formulate the emotional pieces to what was happening. But if things are going super fast, it becomes very hard to gain the depth of experience that are needed to mature emotions. And our second point of this video is that emotions have two phases: the mature and the immature. Immature just meaning lacking the amount of experience to feel solid in those feelings, which a lot of people struggle with. It is a hard thing, but we can get through it. On top of that, we want to make sure that our emotions are, we're using them correctly, and they're not just used to feel, but to understand our environment, to be able to tell what pieces of information are important and what are not so important. What things are more important for what reason? For personal growth. This is also the area of personal growth. That's why we have so many informational outlets, but we have to be careful of what we're gaining from these outlets. I will talk more about emotional health in another video. Hopefully this gives you some context. You can breathe easy. You're absolutely fine. It's important to know that we can get through this, and you're just taking on a big challenge without much guidance. So feeling overwhelmed is okay. We're going to try to increase that guidance so you can make some strong emotional decisions for yourself. Thank you very much.